those two have done together for Alshon to make it on Sundays on a regular basis. First serve on Alshon's power. Heavy serve, wide return for Ben Johns. Ben plays with the the Gen 2 Yola paddle in singles. So opts for more of a placement style game than power in singles. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that works for him versus the more powerful Gen 3 he uses in doubles?
Yeah, well, he wants to stay on court. He wants to play the game, and he likes to generate his own power, and he can swing free with this type of paddle. Sometimes it feels good to really kind of full swing, and perhaps with a more livelier paddle, you know, you can't do your full extension type swing. So for Ben, he's more comfortable with it, and you know, he's always on top of his game, making the right decisions to put him in the best place possible. So here he is. Third shot drop, fifth shot drop.
Here's an update from the women's singles draw. Brooke Buckner advancing to tomorrow's semifinal. The win over Mary Brasha, last year's finalist. Great run for Mary Brasha, back in the mix.
Heavy forehand there for the next one, but off the edge guard. It's going to do the early timeout, or perhaps request a little something, something. Of course, it is proper spectator etiquette to do not be walking by the court during play. Got to learn the early stuff.
Nice coverage of the kitchen there for Christian Alshon.
That graceful. Anything could happen here on championship court right now.
3-1.
Oh, what a shot, Alshon. Seemed like he had nowhere to go. Ben Johns felt like he had that line covered. What a placement for Christian Alshon. Have another look. Goes down the line. Half second, Ben maybe committed to the cross-court angle. Goes line again, but missed it.
That's a great return spot for Ben. These types of players, solving the puzzle is going to be more than just only going to that spot, so he'll have to mix up his spots, but that's a great one to remember. Nice heavy serve from that Gen 2, still generating a good amount of power.
2-4.
Second pole from Christian Alshon. 5-2 lead in game one. Can he sustain it? That's the question over an entire match. What a decision. And Johns looked like he was going to the cross-court angle, then last second feathers it inside out.
That's a testament to how nice that drop shot was if Alshon could not get to it.
2-5.
Great setup again. Christian Alshon one step ahead of the play. More of a finesse style of play here for this matchup.
5-2.
Christian Alshon had to get through Dylan Frazier yesterday in a battle, a three-game battle. Almost didn't make it to this point. Wow. Christian Alshon goes with an unsuspecting touch shot off the backhand side. That's what makes him dangerous too, that reach into the kitchen. We talked about that 6'2" frame. Here it is again on display. He can move well and he can reach into the kitchen.
bad streak of points.
Cross-court angle and a beauty from Ben Johns out of the air. Makes it look easy.
Yeah, well said. Makes it look easy. The placement, the soft style of pickleball is certainly more challenging, more difficult than the smash, bang, boom. At this level, you need to have both.
So good. Point in case for you. Why is the soft stuff so hard to master?
It's more delicate. It's more precise. It's just more difficult to achieve success in that realm than, you know, hitting the ball hard. That can get easier.
Wow.
Top spin. Follow-up angle from Ben.
Required 10 winners to earn the ball back. Doesn't even count for a point, but the crowd is pleased.
And to add on to the difficulty of the soft game, or the placement game, control game, if you will, is, you know, there's so much more decision making that comes into it. You know, what to do and when. So that is why it's more challenging. Not necessarily physically, but mentally challenging. Beautiful. Alshon says, I have both as well.
Clean winner for J.W. Johnson over on Grandstand. We'll keep you posted on that quarterfinal as well. It's deep. And nowadays, there's no match you want to miss. So now more than ever, important to get the app so you don't miss any part of the action.
Yeah, join the dual device crew. Gotta watch more than one at a time here. We're gonna give you a glimpse of what that feels like. Oh, off the net and out from Ben. A lot of power on the Stacksrud Johnson side of the court here. I will say, though, that inside out from Stacksrud that at one point put him within one was pretty impressive. Ben now with the slice. Cross court, very good. Forcing Alshon to slam on the brakes. Nice serve. That was a really good serve from Ben. Alshon takes the net with ease, but still just a little behind. Ben forces him to take the ball below the net. Another drop shot. Smidge of an approach. Yeah, it's those subtle brush volleys that from Alshon that make his balls that much tougher than normal. Ben, of course, doing the same thing. But Alshon has that reach, and there's not much movement to his shot. Just on that critical point of contact, when he's making contact with the ball, he brushes up the back, generates that top spin and keeps it shallow.
Alshon is carrying a certain confidence and poise with him in this quarterfinal matchup. I think the monkey's off his back at this point. Now he feels like he belongs in this matchup. He should be at the scoreline, whereas before, maybe in his younger years, back in 2023, the moment was still a little big for him.
Yeah, his younger years.
Younger years, yeah, exactly.
His earlier, younger years. Ooh,
21-year-old years.
Ben.
Bump off the tape.
Holds it long enough to get a good spot from Alshon on that sideline, but that netter is too tricky.
Inside out. Great angle. We've seen that more and more in the singles game nowadays. I mean, he throws up Wave of apology, might have nicked the net, but that's deep. Christian Alshon handling Ben Johns with game point at 10-4.
Game point. 10-4.
Volley is the no-go zone. Ben Johns owns that shot.
4-10.
Defensive choice, defensive choice, defensive choice from Ben. And now the ball back in the hand of Alshon.
Game point number 2 for Alshon. Whoops, a little high. And the follow-up shot to get to the kitchen. Ben Johns gobbles up the chance.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ben gets to 8 before this game is through.
4-10.
Take one.
And the drop shot is a defensive decision, but you can see right there, winning the point, you can categorize as offense. So starting to kind of realize in your singles game how offense and defense can come hand in hand. Opens up new opportunities for you.
These numbers, Rob, after winning the first game, Christian Alshon has a 91% chance of winning. Just 30% chance if he drops the first game. Nice play by Ben Johns, crawling his way back into the match. So for Christian Alshon, who talked with us yesterday about those numbers with Sam Query, says he's an econ major, he's a numbers guy. He's like, well, 30% is close enough to 50%, which means I'm winning half the time, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, get him at a blackjack table. I loved that conversation. That was accurate and accurate conversation. That was good. Even the Gen 2 can't keep it on court.
Game point number 3 for Alshon. Oh yeah, Ben Johns goes down the line. Christian Alshon thought, no way that was available.
Unbelievable. Ben Johns takes this ball from behind him to put this ball behind Alshon. Way too good. I mean,
can't say I agree with that one.
Right, they did not overturn that call.
Game point number 4 for Alshon. And the pickleball gods even it out. Ben Johns, full extension, great coverage of the kitchen. He felt like that serve should have been his.
And that's the Ben Johns. I'm sorry, that's the Ben Johns that we know and love. You know, a call not going your way like that and just staying right in business and getting it done in the next point. That's where greatness lies in the next point. Beautiful cross.
Great next point, yeah. Adding one to the scoreboard too. Ben Johns 3 points away, and if Christian Alshon surrenders this game with 4 game points, that could bite him. Comes to the match. That's where the mental game, I think, starts to get to a player like Alshon. And here's the numbers for Ben. After losing the first game comparatively, still has about a 50% chance of winning the match. Not as deterred from the first game losses. Too heavy. And Ben Johns takes another point. Alshon is out of timeouts too. Already took his timeout earlier.
8-10.
Wow.
Crafty roll, and Ben Johns with a chance to tie it.
Yeah, it's that forehand that keeps him in the fight for the checkmate. So good. Let's take a look here. That compact forehand counter into checkmate Ben Johns.
9-10.
Oh, to the open court, Ben Johns with the options.
Christian Alshon gets caught up on the run. Tie game, 10 apiece. Another look at the play. Christian goes right. Ben Johns burns him to his left.
10-10.
Oh, missed opportunity from Alshon. Didn't know what to do with that high ball. Hasn't seen it in a while.
And just like that, after saving 4 game points against, Ben Johns has a game point of his own. Alshon shaking his head. He knows what kind of opportunity was missed in this one.
Volley battle. ATP.
Oh,
Counter!
and Ben Johns was there in defense.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Ben Johns storms back from 10-6 down, 4 game points again. Now, Christian Alshon was very frustrated at the end of game 1. Understandable. Ben Johns robbed him, basically, of a game 1 win. And you got to close the door on a guy like Ben Johns. It goes without saying. Easier said than done. And now we see what Alshon is made of mentally. That looks like a great opening point. And Alshon will be playing against Ben Johns later in the day in mixed against his coach too, Lee Waters, who will be at the bench for Anna Lee.
And even on that first point that Christian Alshon won in this game too, you know, he's playing that control move, that
0-0.
slow game that Ben Johns is essentially forcing him to play. So we had some debate on why he's using that Gen 2, and that might have to do with it.
Point.
Still finds a way to play the match on his terms, Ben. Like, he has such an ability to manage the pace of a match.
Recall.
And, you know, the Gen 2 paddle or whatnot.
1-0.
Those drop shots, those slower shots, force your opponent to generate their own pace, and that can trip them up a little bit. They're incapable of using your pace against you if you provide none.
Yeah, that's a great point.
0-1.
Nice spot for Alshon, left foot of Ben Johns.
This matchup is so much more than paddles. This is a battle of wills, battle of discipline, preparation.
Point.
It's a great third from Alshon.
Yeah, let's not forget how much Christian Alshon was up in game 1 and how often he was. So, I mean, anything can still happen this match. Won't leave you hanging at home. The #1 Johnson is Georgia Johnson. #2, of course, Julie. But J-Dub is a tight, close third. To the corner. Alshon's there. To the other corner.
Oh, wow. Masterful work from the transition area to Ben Johns. 1 step ahead of Alshon.
More epicness on center. But let's not forget that match point. That's got to be on some sort of 10 list somewhere. Fails on the execution on that one. Great eye from Alshon.
Side out.
Letting out balls go out.
2-2.
Difficult task in the game of pickleball.
Side out. Two. Side out. Two.
Oh my goodness, Ben Johns shuts it down. Just when you feel a glimpse of momentum in favor of Alshon.
Alshon ran around the backhand to
2-2.
leverage the inside-out forehand, just a bit too high.
Ben's just there waiting. Lob defense.
Side out.
wanted that. This is still a battle.
Two. Point.
Tough ball. He had to play it. Maybe not. That ball could have continued off of the court.
3-2.
Got to put the percentages on your paddle. No.
Side out.
We talk about Alshon's movement, elite. Ben is moving very well as well, and sends that ball to the
2-3.
corner, kind of catches Alshon off guard. Off court.
Point.
There's all of these mini games in pickleball, Michelle, and if you're not playing them, then you're just
3-3.
missing out on huge chunks of your game. The serve and serve return is one of those very important mini games. And there it is
Point.
again, 2 in a row.
Well, speaking of mini games too, Rob, mentally speaking, this is only the first chapter of this meeting between Alshon and Ben Johns. Either way,
4-3.
both players are going to have to rally to face each other again in a different division in this afternoon shift at 2 p.m.
Well, that's the big picture. That's the meta game right there.
in mixed doubles.
He's there for it.
Nice.
Side out.
Love it. Even on that volley, Alshon holds it just long enough to give Ben not enough time to get to that last ball.
3-4.
Take a little Alshon. He could have hit this ball earlier. Waits for it. Boom.
Side out.
Ben's going to come back strong here. Heavy
Volley.
angle.
Yeah. And in terms of men's doubles, these two will at least avoid each other until a potential final matchup if both teams could make it there. Gabe Tardio is the partner of Ben Johns. Staescu, the partner of
4-3.
Alshon. They would miss each other until the gold medal match if they can get there.
What a match that would be.
Alshon and Staescu winning the gold last weekend. Ooh,
Yeah, that final.
happened there.
So
Point.
much
Verbal warning, profanity.
so much history and depth in that match. Andre Staescu playing with Gabe Tardio, one of the few teams that defeated Ben
Yes.
and Colin. Of course, now Alshon in that equation with the rivalry that occurred. Another of the few players on that
5-3.
list. All the volleys here. To it.
Oh, had it.
Point.
More points against Christian Alshon, who, by the way, had 4 game points in the first game. Now down a game and down a couple points in the second.
6-3.
You knew this was going to be a tough battle for Alshon to come back in it in game 2. Ben Johns is making that more difficult. And there's the winning touch for Alshon. Hops the corner, finds the angle.
Yeah, and adding to that percentage of .1s coming back from the timeout.
Alshon trying to defy the odds.
3-6.
31% chance of winning this match after dropping the first game.
I love
Side
it.
out.
And finds another corner.
Ben Johns he can handle Christian Alshon's pace so well. And going back to that Gen 2 decision, you know, he didn't want to have to
6-3.
survive his own pace, and now he doesn't have to.
Point.
Great use of the top of the net there. Extra top spin and a different look.
7-3.
Loads looks like he's going to be going for that drop and catches with that drive.
Side out.
Of course, the netter makes that much tougher. His serve.
Ben Johns, in terms of golds in singles, he hasn't been to a final or won gold since
3-7.
Virginia Beach in October of last season. That's a pretty big drought for him.
I don't believe it. I'm just kidding.
Side
It's
out.
nice stuff from Ben. Yep.
That's wild. He seems to be pretty focused here in Arizona. Progressive
7-3.
draw, a lot of points on the line.
Wow.
Yes.
Point.
Laser focus, pinpoint precision for Ben Johns. 8-3 the damage now.
Some players have to have like a more of a height for that type of arc for that ball. His ball stays low and still maintains that arc ball path. It's too good. Serve for point. More than just power. Ben Johns.
Nine, 3. Point. Match point.
Match point. The missed return for Alshon. Disheartening one after
10-3.
looking so good in game one.
Retreats to the baseline. Drops and stays back.
Off the tape it goes.
Side out.
Alshon will take the serve back. Last chance to fight in the match.
Placement, Ernie, from Alshon. Without the help of the net, I think Ben was getting that ball.
Point.
There's one.
Just about the exact other end of the table here of game one.
4-10.
Jeez, the return from Ben Johns.
Match point.
Match point
10-4.
for Ben Johns.
Side out.
He's got it back. Alshon hanging in.
Yeah, just because we were 1 point away,
4-10.
still a lot of more work to get done. Tweener.
Side out.
Barely missed it.
Just missed.
Match point.
Yeah, you can hold your breath on that one.
10-4.
Got a little smile out of Alshon. Match point number 3. Into the net.
Side out. .410.
It's wide.
Side out.
And Johns will recover a
Match
fourth
point.
match point.
.10-4. Side out.
Alshon hangs alive. Ball back.
5-10.
Off to return. Alshon
Side
had
out.
the opening and couldn't execute. Match point number 5 for Ben Johns.
Match point. 10-5.
Alshon fights off another. Hanging on by a thread here, but still has a little room to go.
5-10.
Ben Johns playing this cat and mouse from transition area here.
Jukes out Ben again. Do we have a comeback brewing?
That is a beautiful shot from Alshon, so below the net.
6-10.
Placement that sneaks it past Ben over his right shoulder.
Whoa, out of the air winner
Side
for
out.
Ben Johns. Amping up his
Match
edge.
point.
All right. Match point number 6, Rob.
10-6.
Ooh, open
Side out.
alleyway, goes deep. And Johns wins the
Side out.
hands battle. 7 match points now on his side.
Match point.
Ben's able to close it up with that forehand. I love that so much.
10-6.
On a string.
7 match points to take it. Ben Johns pulls the winner down the line. Well, Ben Johns had an epic comeback in game 1 to breeze through game 2 and advance to the semifinal rounds. Michelle McMahon and Rob Cassidy in the booth, and Ben Johns joins us courtside to talk about the big win over Christian Alshon. And Ben, you were TBD for singles for this event up until recently. What inspired you to play this division in this tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I took a little bit of a break at the beginning of the year. I knew I was gonna, be playing singles sooner than not. So yeah, beginning of the year, I just felt like the break wasn't quite long enough for me. Yeah, just took about, I guess, month and a half extra off, and then been focusing on some other things in terms of improvement. But I always like playing singles, and it's fun to get back to it.
Well, it was an impressive performance, and it was a unique game. Seemed to be a lot of control involved, like placement and power. Was it part of the game plan to make Alshon play a certain game style?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he's one of the better ones at playing short stuff. He's a pretty long player, and he's obviously a good doubles player. So, he plays some cat and mouse pretty well. But yeah, I mean, that's more my general game style. So I'm not sure it was generally like strategic, particularly to him. It was more just kind of generally how I play, and it works against most people. And if it's not, you can deviate. But that's always my kind of first plan of attack.
And Ben, very few people can do what you did in game 1, down at least 10-6. I think it was 10-4 at one point. You saved 4 game points again, slowly chipped away to climb back. And how do you explain what your mentality is when you're in that kind of deficit, when it looks like you're way out of reach from getting back in?
Yeah, I feel like in first games, especially in the first half game or so, I often struggle with kind of passing shots and hitting solid volleys. But as I kind of lock it in, I feel like I play defense on other opponents' serves pretty well. So it's more just kind of holding the tide back and saving some game points and having confidence in my volleys, stretch volleys, that kind of thing. And that just gives me more bites at the apple, and eventually I'm going to score. So it was more of a defensive thing than an offensive thing.
Love it. All right, Ben, congratulations. Moving on to the semifinal, he will face the winner of Connor Garnett and Jaume Martinez. Vic, that quarterfinal matchup still to be determined. We are going to step aside for just a moment, and when we return, it's an epic battle between the world number 2, Caitlin Christian, and top 5, Paris Todd, a rematch of the Tucson final gold medal match. We'll be back with more.